Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to our latest market report, the first of 2020. As always, I'm Dion Zakuski, Branch Manager and Director here at Scotia Wealth for Central Alberta. Well, we're starting a new year. In fact, we're starting a new decade. Even got a new tie on. And today, we wanted to spend some time with you and check out a few different things. One, results from 2019. Spoiler alert, results were pretty good. Two, themes that we're going to be watching here in 2020. And three, overall strategy. So as you may already know, 2019 was a good year for investors. Almost every asset class was in the green, and there was many things to cheer about when December 31st came around. It wasn't a perfectly smooth ride though. As we've discussed in previous reports, trade issues around the world did cause some volatility along the way. Seasonally though, it was a textbook case of solid gains in the first part of the year, from about January to April. Then we saw some rockiness and some consolidation through the summer, and then a strong finish, especially throughout November and December. For our own Zook Group models, we were really pleased to see gains in all areas. Equities had a good year, our bonds were above average for returns, and the alternative category of real estate and infrastructure had double digits. So looking forward now, what are the big themes that we see coming for 2020? First is obviously trade relations. We frequently discussed this topic in 2019, and any time there was a positive move between China and the US, markets cheered. But when things got rocky, so went the markets. However, at this point, we think there's been more positive developments. Just this week, the US and China signed a phase one trade deal that is seeing a lot of their taxes and trade tariffs being taken off. Both of these big economic giants have a direct interest in continuing their trade talks. China needs to combat slowing growth, and in the US, Trump and company have a big re-election bid coming this November. And that brings us to theme number two, which is politics. Politics can usually go either way, but we think for this purposes, it'll be a positive. Middle East issues aside, the main focus for us will be the election down in the States. We're going to show you a very interesting chart that shows historical investment gains in the US over different parts of the four-year presidential cycles. So checking out presidential years 1 and 2, this is typically when administration tackles the most difficult economic policy. And typically, as we see, in those years, gains are more muted than in years 3 and 4. This makes sense because now there's a focus to get re-elected. So hopefully, history will repeat itself again this year. Interest rates is another big theme that we're looking at for 2020. Several central banks around the world cut interest rates last year, and we'll see how that takes effect. The US is likely done cutting interest rates for now, and it'll be really interesting to see what the Bank of Canada does. Did you know we're one of the few developed nations that didn't cut interest rates in 2019? Interest rates are obviously important for consumers, but also for corporations as it affects borrowing rates in their effort to expand, as well as driving future earnings growth. And that takes us to our final theme, which is corporate earnings. Our strategists here at Scotia believe that with economic data having some improvements coming in 2020, most major corporations should keep pace, and that impact should accelerate through the back half of the year. So with all this fantastic information and themes, what should we be focusing and how should we position strategy? Well, the main plan is quite simple, folks. In 2020, stay invested. A lot of these themes we talked about should provide tailwinds for markets, and we think there'll be another good year coming up. For asset classes, cash and GICs will likely underperform, so our preference will remain to hold high-quality equity investments and then complement those ideas with real estate and infrastructure just to keep risk in check. As always, if you have questions about your strategy or wealth planning in general, give us a call or email anytime. And that's it for today. Stay warm, and thanks for watching.